all across America and around the world. This is Veterans Radio. This is Veterans Radio.
Good day. I'm Jim Fausone. I'm the officer of the deck today here on Veterans Radio, and thanks for joining us. We've got some interesting stories for you. We always want to remind you you can find more about Veterans Radio at its Facebook site or at the web, veteransradio.org, where we're on the web 24/7. You can find a lot of our podcasts there as well. We post new ones every Tuesday, so you can get a new story, a new interview, something you didn't know before by going to veteransradio.org. And before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors. First up, we want to thank National Veteran Business Development Council, nvbdc.org. It was established to certify both service-disabled and veteran-owned businesses. You'll find out how they can help your business by going to nvbdc.org. We want to thank Legal Help for Veterans. Legal Help for Veterans fights for veterans' disability rights all across the nation. You can reach them at 800-693-4800 or on the web at legalhelpforveterans.com. And finally, PuroClean. PuroClean is the paramedics of property damage. It provides water damage remediation, flood water removal, fire and smoke damage remediation, mold removal, biohazard cleanup. It also has a focus on veteran franchisees. You can learn more about them by going to puroclean.com. We just want to remind you that Veterans Radio podcasts are available on all your favorite streaming platforms, including rss.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Rees Across America Radio. So wherever you are, you can find us. We were recently identified as in the 15th spot, if you will, of the top 100 veteran-centric podcasts by FeedSpot. So we're really pretty proud of being in the top 15. So listen in wherever you're at to veteransradio.org and its podcasts.
We want to welcome to Veterans Radio today two gentlemen who are deeply involved in Detroit's efforts, successful efforts, to bring the Medal of Honor Society convention to Detroit in October of 2026. One of the things you know if you listen to Veterans Radio is we kind of get the information before other people do, and we get to pass it on to you so that you're in the know. So we're really happy to talk about what's coming a year from now when the living Medal of Honor recipients gather in Detroit for their annual convention. First up, we have Russell Schomberger, who is the chair of the committee. Russ, welcome to Veterans Radio.
Well, thank you, Jim, very much. Appreciate it, and looking forward to sharing more about the conference to the audience.
We want to welcome to Veterans Radio Adrian Kozakov, who is a committee member that's working on this huge effort to bring the Congressional Medal of Honor Recipients Convention to Detroit in 2026. Adrian, welcome to Veterans Radio.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Very excited to share about the convention.
Well, Russ, let's start with you. How did you get yourself involved in this big task of pulling off the national convention?
Well, I don't know how much time you have, but to make it simple, I am also on the board of the Detroit Public Safety Foundation, and I've been supporting first responders for some time. And I met some folks that are involved with the recipient community and said, we've never had this in the city of Detroit. It would be cool to have. So I started working with Detroit Public Safety Foundation and the society to win the award or to bring it to Detroit, which we were successful on doing. And now I find myself having the tiger by the tail, which is a labor of love. I'm very fortunate in my position to be able to give back to the community. Been doing so for about 7 years for Detroit Public Safety Foundation. And it's just all about Detroit the veteran community, and giving back.
Well, why don't you expand a little bit more on the Detroit Public Safety organization? Because folks can go there and donate for this particular Congressional Medal of Honor convention. And really, I don't think most folks would go, I don't know what the Detroit Public Safety organization is.
Well, the Detroit Public Safety Foundation is a 501c3. It is the charity of record for this conference. And what we do is we take care of fallen first responders, their families, and things of that nature. We do things for youth groups within the city. And we provide things to the first responders. It's just simple little things, creature comforts for the fire department, their housing, things of that nature. But our main focus is giving back to the community and taking care of youth programs and first responders who are injured or fallen in the line of duty.
Well, clearly the Detroit Public Safety Foundation is a very worthy cause and is sort of the base here around which this Medal of Honor convention is building. And as you say, it's the financial arm of it as well. It's you can make 501c3 charitable deductions, contributions to the Detroit Public Safety Foundation for the purposes of supporting the Medal of Honor convention, if I understand it right.
Exactly. That's perfect. It's perfectly stated.
Well, Adrian, it's fairly clear that Russ just stumbled into this. The guy with a good idea always finds himself being told, oh, good, you're going to lead it. What,
Jim? I say no good deed goes unpunished.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Adrian, how did you get involved?
In a similar fashion, I was voluntold to get involved in this and thought one of the employees and directors at the Medal of Honor Society said, hey, Adrian, you'd be a good fit for this, and talked with Russ, and Russ said, yes, we could use the help. Let's figure out a way to get involved. And from there, started getting more involved and seeing how I could help.
Well, your committee has a number of influential people on it. We have a mutual friend in Valdi Garcia with NDIA, with the Michigan Military and Veterans Hall of Honor, former state senator, and I know he's really excited about this as well. Are there other committee members you'd like to mention?
There's none at this time, and we have some feelers out. What we're doing is we have this year's conference coming on next week. So that's in Chattanooga. And what we wanted to do is go sit down, go through the whole thing. We'll be there all week. We're going to set A to Z and talk to everybody and say, let's learn from lessons learned. What went well, what didn't, how should we restructure? Now we have a straw person. We have roles identified. We have tasks and duties identified. We have some names penciled in. But before we pull the trigger in that, what we wanted to do is just go make sure that we've done all of our due diligence before we go asking people for, time, energy, and effort.
The Congressional Medal of Honor Society is a sort of standalone organization itself. And it's a way in which people can connect with living Medal of Honor recipients and learn more about those who have deceased. But do they have conventions every year?
Yes, they do have conventions every year, and they pick a city. You go and make a pitch, if you will. And so Valde and some others went down last year in San Antonio to do the pitch. And there's really three purposes for this. And I'm non-military. So I'm just a Detroit fellow that's trying to do a good job for the city of Detroit and veterans causes, right? I'm often flabbergasted by the fact that very few people know anything about the society. Know very little about recipients. When I booked the venue, and it's going to be at the Motor City Casino Hotel next year, some of the people there were saying, well, tell me more about what the society is. Even Visit Detroit. And so the main purpose of this is to go and communicate all about the medal, all about service, all about, what this stands for. The second thing is really to educate the national audience about Detroit. And then finally, what we come along with is to raise funds for the society itself and for veterans and youth programs within the city. So those, I would say, in general, are the three legs of the stool. Adrian, did I forget anything? I'm often get carried away and get excited in my exuberance. And so,
Yeah, I think that covers it very well. One item I would like to add more to was especially the youth programs. It's to help inspire our youth to live by, not only youth, but the people of Detroit, the people of Michigan, to live by the values that the medal instills in people.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I think it's one of the things that you're going to be able to do is remind the nation of the contributions that have been made in Southeast Michigan and really Michigan as a whole to national defense, the arsenal of democracy, right? The World War II was largely successful because of our industrial production and what companies like Ford were able to do in turning out necessary defense equipment, planes, tanks, Jeeps, the famous Jeep, right? So it kind of goes both ways. We're going to learn what their lives were, what their sacrifices were, but hopefully we're also being able to pass on that message about what Detroit and the area has done for the nation.
yep, it's all about education and expanding, the reach, the knowledge base of who knows about this stuff, right? I mean, there's really just a small group that's, I would hate to say fading, but it is in some ways, right? And so we're the champions. If you don't remember history, it will repeat itself in the future, right? And so learning those things, sharing those things, and at the end, it's really about youth programs and veterans programs as well. So it's just a very worthy cause, and like you said, we do have lots of needs coming up over the next year. So you can mention our website or put that in part of your announcements. It is the Medal of Honor Detroit.com. That's where you find all of your information about what's coming up events. We will have somebody, I do believe, coming in for the Navy Ball on October 16th. I don't know, Adrian, do you want to talk about your event coming up? Is it too soon to bring that up, or go
I
ahead?
think actually just prior to this, I received confirmation from the University of Michigan that we will have a Medal of Honor recipient or two on the field and honored at the November 1st Military Appreciation Game against Purdue at the Big House. Now, some of the details are still being finalized on if we'll be speaking or the Medal of Honor recipients will be speaking or they'll be speaking on our behalf. But this will be a great opportunity to kickstart publicly, right? And our veterans here are hearing it first, but publicly announcing that the convention is coming to Detroit to showcase Detroit, the people of Michigan, and instill the values of the medal in the people here in front of over 100,000 people.
And that's the way you get the word out, going out to the public. And here on Veterans Radio, we've had the opportunity to talk to a number of Medal of Honor recipients, and they are the most humble guys you'll ever find. There are approximately, I think it's 3,600 who have been received the award. It is not, you don't earn it, you receive it. The decision there's a big difference here.
I've learned what verbiage to use. I've been schooled, and one thing that I would say, in the world today, this is something that transcends politics, religion, race. These gentlemen did what they did for love of their brothers. And
Yeah,
that's something that you really got to understand, is that they've done this not because of who you are or what you are, but because they're your brother, and they've gone above and beyond in unsurmountable odds for that love.
there were, and this goes, this is a historical line that, again, we don't teach much history in grade school or high school anymore, let alone college. But in Michigan, I think there were something like 69 Medal of Honor recipients in the Civil War. I think overall Michigan's had 125 maybe Medal of Honor recipients. I think there's only one living Medal of Honor recipient in the state of Michigan at the moment.
Yes.
So when you start looking at these stories, I suppose this is part of what you're trying to get across to the general public, Adrian, when you bring the convention to town. Is like this long history that exists.
Yes, the long history and how truly special and rare it is, right? As your point earlier, fewer than 3,600 medals have ever been awarded in, well, we're coming up on 250 years here of the United States of America. And there's only one living Medal of Honor recipient left in Michigan, 61 as of today living, and 45 of them are from the Vietnam War era or later, where they're in their 70s or older, where in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we may be down to 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 living Medal of Honor recipients.
It really is quite an amazing club. Not the price you have to pay to get into the club is unimaginable. And if you want to know more about the Congressional Medal of Honor Society, you can go to their website, which is cmohs.org, cmohs.org, just to learn more about the Congressional Medal of Honor Society and the things that they stand for. You have a new website up. We mentioned it a minute ago. I actually found 2 pages I want to promote. One is DetroitPublicSafety.org/about-5-1. Real catchy title, but if you go to DetroitPublicSafety.org and search for it, you'll find the Congressional Medal of Honor page that they have up and how you can donate. And there's also one that your committee's got up now, Medal of Honor Detroit.com, that we referenced a little earlier. And I assume that over the course of time, the public will be able to go to those websites and learn more about what's coming a year from now.
Yeah, you can do that today. Actually, there are links from our site to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. You can call that one-stop shopping, if you will. There's ways to reach out to say if you want to volunteer in some way, you can contact us for more information. There's ways to contribute, so that will link you to the Detroit Public Safety Foundation website. That's all filled out for you already. So it is the easy button, if you will. I think the only thing that right now that we don't have on there that we want to share is a little bit more about some of the sponsors. We've already gotten some good sponsors that we want to highlight and articulate, and some of the upcoming events, because they're relatively new. The site's been up in full for a week maybe or something like that now. So, there's lessons learned we got to put in there yet. There might be some additional bits of information. So anybody looking at it, if they have suggestions, they can make suggestions as well, things that we may have forgotten. But it's pretty much the one-stop shop, Medal of Honor Detroit.com, and we can link you to all those places.
So let me ask, the dates of this are September 30th to October 3rd, 2026. Have you guys at the committee level sort of said, hey, we need 100 volunteers or 50 volunteers? Or I would think you need boots on the ground, getting people in the right places at the convention, the different events. Do you have any idea how many volunteers you want?
We have classifications. We don't have numbers. And what we wanted to do again is get back to see what's going on in Chattanooga. and come back and just say, how did this work? How did that work? We do have a lot of resources from the Motor City Casino Hotel because it is a casino as well as the hotel area, but they have a lot of people there. So they do have like um, EMTs. They do have security staff. We do have to check with, the city of Detroit is going to provide some support. So basically, we're at the point where we're herding cats. And to be honest, when this first came out, when I first got engaged, this has been going for over a year now, right? We said, hey, we need help. And we got inundated. And we were totally unprepared, for the eagerness to help. And so what we're trying to do is put a little bit more method to the madness. And when we come back from Chattanooga, we get to the first part of October, we're going to put together those numbers and those plans and have an idea how we want to go about this, right? And fill the main roles of the committee. Like I said, we've got people we've been talking to. We got finance. We got logistics being done. We just don't know the numbers at this point in time. And we picked the Motor City Casino Hotel. We're doing this, blame this on me, if you will. We're picking local companies, Illich, things of that nature, people who have done stuff for the city of Detroit, locally owned businesses, if you will. And then we also picked it because of we could fit everything in one building.
Sure.
Right. So we have room for the gala on October 3rd. That's the big black tie event that will be everything going to culminate into that. We can fit that. It's convenient for the recipients in case they got to shuttle up and down during any of the events and stuff like that. So we're going to be, we have a lot of resources there. It's not like we're going to be traveling from venue to venue to get the things, but there will be logistics. There will be people trying to, guide folks from different events. We'll post the full schedule sometime after October. We have main events that are required for the convention. The board meeting, there will be a memorial service. There are some things that are for the recipients only. And then now that we've got that schedule nailed in, we're going to be putting other events. So we would like to host a veterans event.
Sure.
And have that taken care of. So we're still working out some of those details.
Adrian, I'll throw this one to you, which is, this costs a lot of money and you got to have big sponsors and little sponsors, don't you?
Very true, Jim. And yes, and we've made great headway with some of the support too, right? Where we have an outpouring of support, and of course, monetary support. It's always great to help put on this convention and be able to fund more educational programs for our city and our state. Where so far, NDIA Michigan chapter, Others First, General Dynamics, Simmons and Clark, Visit Detroit, the Michigan Veterans Trust Fund, the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency, Berkshire Capital, BBC Title, and Motor City Casino Hotel have stepped up to partner or sponsor with us already before even being publicly announced, where we are actively looking for sponsors here that could help bring this event to life and help make themselves or their business affiliated with the Medal of Honor Convention and support the values that the Medal of Honor instills and stands for.
Well, the Metro Detroit business community is very veteran friendly, and I'm sure you're going to find the support as the word gets out even more. What's the best way if folks are listening here on Veterans Radio and say, this is something I want to get involved in, I either want to financially support it or I'd like to get involved and be a volunteer, whether it's just directing folks to the right rooms or helping people out? How do they get in touch? How do they stay in touch and offer those kind of services?
I would say go to our website, medalofhonordetroit.com, and keep that in mind for updates on the volunteer side. As Russ had mentioned, that as we formulate a plan and herd the cats to figure out the best ways for people to volunteer, and as we ask gratefully for their time and any financial support or any ways to sponsor or partner with us, go to the website, learn a bit more about it, and shoot us a contact or email us at info@medalofhonordetroit.com. So that's just info at our website.
Russ, I got you down on tape here, so I want to get a commitment from you that you'll come back in 3 or 4 months when the details are more fleshed out, and we can give our veteran radio listeners even more specific information about this really exciting conference a year from now.
You have my commitment. It would be my greatest honor to do so. And I'd like to thank the audience for their service as well. We appreciate that very much.
Well, we're glad to have both of you on, and this is one of those things that you want to know ahead of time. You want to mark your calendar, and let's round up the troops to help out. So this is a hugely successful conference. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody for listening to Veterans Radio today. I am Jim Fausone. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I'm a veterans disability lawyer at Legal Help for Veterans, and you can reach us at 800-693-4800 or legalhelpforveterans.com on the web. You can follow Veterans Radio on Facebook and listen to its podcasts and internet radio shows by visiting us at veteransradio.org. That's veteransradio.org. We again want to thank our national sponsors, the National Veterans Business Development Council, NVBDC.org, Legal Help for Veterans, a veterans disability law firm with a national practice before the VA, can help you on your claims and your appeals. It can be reached at legalhelpforveterans.com or 1-800-693-4800. And PuroClean, a leader in property emergency services. It's the paramedics of property damage, providing water damage remediation, flood water removal, fire and smoke damage remediation, mold and biohazard cleanups. You can reach them at puroclean.com or 800-775-7876. We also want to thank our local sponsors. This would include the Charles S. Kettles chapter of the Vietnam Veterans of America, that's chapter 310, VFW Graf O'Hara Post 423, the American Legion Irwin Preskin Post 46 in Ann Arbor as well, the VA Ann Arbor Healthcare System, and certainly the National Vietnam Veterans of America Association. You can be a sponsor by going to veteransradio.org, clicking on the About Us and our sponsors, and help us out. Keep this program alive for the 21 and 22 years. Keep us going for another 20. Thank you.